Dum da dum 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 da dum 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 dum. Through the peril. Anyway, forget all that mess. Good evening, Detroit. This is Revelations.Unveiled. Detroit. Starting my evening journey back to my habitation. Had a good, wonderful, and blessed day under the Spirit of the Lord. Sending out my greetings of peace and blessings and love and healing to the 12 tribes scattered abroad and to my brothers and sisters who are pending that awakening. I love you all. Glad to be back with you again. So as you can see, I was being silly at the top of the video and humming out the national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner, the song of the nation of America. So it is about time that I gave my commentary on the protest, quote unquote, the furor, quote unquote, of the NFL players and other professional players and other people across various industries who are displaying signs of protest, silently, visually, vocally, whatever the case may be. But in the vein of the player protests in taking a knee or raising a fist during the playing of the national anthem before events, my contribution to that conversation is continue the protests. Continue the protests. This statement is directed to the people who call themselves Black Americans, Afro Americans, African Americans, all of these various titles or names to describe the descendants of the slaves or those that were conquered and colonized in the Western Hemisphere, more specifically the boundaries of the 50 states plus Puerto Rico. Okay. So the national anthem, for just a quick synopsis, and of course you can verify the actual history, was a anthem composed by Francis Scott Key in the 1800s. Please, people, go to your various internet search engines and put in his name so you can get his date of birth and death. You will find out that this gentleman had several professional designations, lawyer, some other stuff, but he also owned slaves. So the creator of the national anthem was a slave owner, a slave owner, a slave owner. Now, it will record in his biography that he released his slaves after a certain amount of time. Great for, I guess, him doing that. Most of the, people of his nation or his culture will say, oh, well, he turned his slaves loose, so he must be okay. Well, a slave owner can never be okay. So let's get that straight. Francis Scott Key, the author of the national anthem, was a slave owning member. He also created that anthem as a battle cry in support of the rebellion against the American government, to outline the scene of one of those great battles. In the course of the song, you must go to the second and third stanzas, which are never displayed publicly, which no one will stand before you in a forum and read, because it outlines the condition of the slave. It outlines that the condition of the slave should never change, and that he should continue to be a slave. And in these American borders, that slave would not receive any refuge. So, the anthem was a song created in support of a rebellion against the country, and to outline that the ones in captivity and bondage of this nation would have no refuge and peace here. All of the people who regard themselves as being smart or intellectual simply go to the national anthem and read it, understand it, and then you will have some idea as to why there is a protest against it. Period. Now, of course, the people you hear on the various news shows and the pundits and the talking heads and our president are going to tell you that the protests are against the national anthem, the flag, or the service members of America. So, understand, it does not matter that the people who initiated the protests have clearly indicated they are not protesting those factors, but the factors of police brutality, systematic injustice against the descendants of slaves, those conquered and colonialized. It is a protest against the victims of an injustice and the lack of justice against the perpetrators. It is a clear visualization to be seen that the hand, the enforcement fist of the system is able to operate with no regard to critically injure and kill the affected, degraded, denigrated, derided population of the nation. And by continuing to hang on to the idea that the protests are against the flag or the military is a deflection point of the conversation. You can never address those talking heads directly, because they cannot acknowledge that the institutions of this country are against the people that you call people of color. Black people, Negroes, African Americans, Afro-Americans, black people, brown people, my so-called Hispanic or Latin nation brothers and sisters. So, understand, they have to create a false narrative in order for them to have the belief and idea of this country. Very easy to understand it. Period. Now, for all of the people who call themselves black, brown, African American, Afro-American, Negro, nigger, whatever your designation is, you, in your spirit, should know and should realize you are not to be in any support of the national anthem or the American flag. That anthem and that flag was built as a direct contradiction to your existence in this country. The idea of which this country was founded on, the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, where all men are supposed to have been created equal, is a lie. The American prelude to the Constitution and ideal is a lie. If all men were created equal and bound by God to pursue life, liberty, and happiness, your black descendant of slave existence in this country is a direct fly in the ointment of the ideal of this nation. They cannot profess that this is a free country when your ancestors came here in bondage. They cannot profess this to be a free country if your ancestors were conquered and colonized. The pursuit of that happiness was only designated for the conquerors and their descendants. The American national anthem is a song that flies in the face of the Holy Creator himself as well. So you understand why there is a hate against you, Negroes, Black, African Americans. There is a hatred when you stand before any of those descendants of the captors, of the conquerors, of the adversaries, of the physical representations of Satan. When you stand before them, they dare not speak of the preamble and ideals of America because your existence shows them it's a direct lie. Continue to protest the anthem. Continue to let them know that we understand what that anthem is, who created it, why it was created, and the spirit of its creation. Continue to protest it until all the simple and ignorant blacks, African Americans, descendants of slaves, pull up that song and read those words in the verses for themselves to understand that all of the time you put your hand over your heart, you bowed your head, you may have developed a tear, you stood in silence under that flag while that anthem played. It is a direct slap in the face of you and your people to the arrival and or already existence to this country. It is not your anthem. Protest. Protest. Now, to the people, quote unquote, and you'll hear this a lot through the discourse, who call themselves Black, African, Afro-American, Negro. If you were called in the past coon, nigger, spick, wetback, porch monkey, whatever any of those derogatory terms were applied to us as a people, you must understand we do not have any allies in this country. We do not have any friends in this country. We do not have any people who are looking out for our benefit and well-being. We as the descendants of the slaves, we as those who are conquered and colonized, we are a set apart people from every other nation that has come to this country. All other nations exercise a choice to leave their natural national homelands and to come to the America to participate on a brand new platform of so-called freedom and liberty and a pursuit of happiness. All nations from around the world can say that their family came here and worked hard and pulled themselves up by their bootstraps, and now they have some semblance of the American dream. Yes, that is true. But the descendants of the slaves did not make a choice to come here. The existing native populations did not make the choice to have a conquering nation appear and destroy their lands and colonize their populations. Those people are set apart from everyone else who came here to exercise a new life. Understand, we will be hated by those nations because when they came here to practice freedom, We were here in bondage. We were locked into the bowels and intestines and the rectal area of this new country up until 1865. And then for another 100 years, we toiled in a less than fifth class citizenship to even begin to enjoy what we were tricked into believing was an American dream. There is no American dream for the descendants of slaves and those conquered and colonized. We are a set-apart people. We will have the scorn of all nations because our existence flies in the face of the fun they wish to have in this country. The national anthem is not our anthem. The Constitution ideals did not apply to us. We are a set-apart nation. Our Constitution was given to us on the Mount by the Holy Creator to the messenger Moses. Our laws are of the heavenly order. Our statutes are of the divine nature. When you can understand that you are a set-apart people and you do not operate under any constitutions of this world, but you operate under the spiritual constitution of the Holy Covenant, everything you see and hear will begin to be understood. It is not our anthem. We do not support it. It never supported us, and all those who hold on to that anthem, that belongs to them. So, there is no protest against something that is evil. The protest is bringing you the knowledge and awareness that we are a different people from any other persons who determined to come here and practice being an American. We are the children of Israel. We were sent to this land as a punishment for us being disobedient to the covenant of the Creator. We were not sent here to be magnificent, to be great. We were sent here to realize who we were as a people, to return back to our natural divine ordination, to begin practicing our rightful acts, for lack of a better term. So, for all the brothers and sisters who may come across this, for all those who want to be American, who want to hold their hearts and sing the anthem, you may look like a patriot to the enemies of your nation, but you look like a damn fool to your God. I love you, Detroit. I hope to be back with you soon. This is Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit to the scattered tribes all over the world of the house of Jacob, to my brothers and sisters who are almost there with coming back home to their identity. I love you.